The station had never been this quiet. It was late at night, and most of the officers had already wrapped up their shifts. A few remained, catching up on reports, sipping cold coffee, and preparing for another long night. The only sound breaking the silence was the occasional rustling of papers and the hum of the vending machines. Then the door creaked open. At first, no one paid attention. Officers came and went at all hours, but then Officer Jake, sitting at his desk, caught a glimpse of something from the corner of his eye. He turned his head and froze. A large, panting German shepherd stood at the entrance, her coat glistening from the rain outside, but this wasn't just any dog, it was Shadow. Shadow had once been the pride of the department, a highly trained canine, loyal and fearless. She had served for years, protecting officers, sniffing out danger and saving lives. But after a close call on a mission, where she had shielded her handler from an armed suspect, she was retired with full honours. After her retirement, Shadow had been adopted by Officer Daniels, her longtime handler. She was given a peaceful home where she could finally relax after years of service. But now she was here at the station, drenched, exhausted, and clearly in distress. Jake shot up from his chair. "Shadow!" he called out, his voice laced with concern. The dog whimpered, stepping forward slowly. That's when he noticed her swollen belly. "She's pregnant," Jake murmured, realization hitting him like a freight train. Within seconds, other officers rushed over. Officer Daniels, who had just clocked out and was heading home, turned around at the commotion. The moment he laid eyes on Shadow, his heart clenched. "Oh, my God," he whispered, running over and kneeling beside her. "Shadow, what are you doing here?" She licked his hand weakly before another sharp whimper escaped her throat. Her legs trembled and she barely managed to stand. "She's about to give birth," one of the officers said. Daniels gently placed his hands under her belly, trying to support her weight. But why did she come here, he wondered out loud. She could have had them at home. Why here? The answer became clear in an instant. Shadow had come back to the place she had spent her entire life protecting, the place she saw as home. The officers didn't hesitate. They quickly cleared a space in the lounge area, laying down blankets and bringing warm towels. "We need a vet," Jake said urgently. "I already called one," an officer responded. "They're on their way." Daniels stroked Shadow's head. "We're here, girl. We've got you." Minutes felt like hours. Shadow whimpered in pain as the first tiny pup emerged. The room was filled with tense silence, every officer watching anxiously. Then a small squeak echoed in the air. "It's a boy," Jake announced, carefully wrapping the tiny pup in a towel. One by one, Shadow delivered her pups, each one healthy and strong. The officers worked together, gently cleaning the newborns and keeping them warm. Daniels stayed by Shadow's side, whispering words of encouragement. By the time the last puppy arrived, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. The station had seen countless heroic moments, but this was different. "She came back here," Jake said, his voice thick with emotion. "She came back home to have them with us." Daniels nodded, swallowing hard, because this was always her family. The vet arrived soon after, checking on Shadow and her newborns. "She's exhausted, but she's going to be okay," the vet reassured them. "And these little ones, they're strong." Relief washed over everyone. Shadow, though tired, nuzzled her babies lovingly, her tail wagging weakly. News of Shadow's story spread quickly. The entire department celebrated, officers stopping by just to see the miracle that had unfolded in their station. Some even joked that the pups were born to serve, just like their mother. Days later, a small plaque was placed in the station in Shadow's honor, commemorating her years of service and the incredible moment she had chosen to share with her fellow officers. And as for the puppies, each one was adopted by officers in the department, ensuring that Shadow's legacy of loyalty and bravery would live on. She had come back to the only home she had ever known, to the people who had always protected her, and in return she had given them a gift that none of them would ever forget.